growing on her tongue. Stag near to short film at 10 to 2. First in your dreams with TOYAH WiLLCOX.
Every night we enter an alternate world where anything is possible and our true selves are laid bare. We cross the threshold between waking and unconsciousness into the place where we dream. Over 4 decades, TOYAH WiLLCOX has had an extremely diverse career and has managed to find success in the fields of music, acting and as a television presenter. She's reinvented herself many times and is known for her rebellious spirit.
My dreams, the texture of my dreams has changed considerably over the years, and the only thing that gets me to go to sleep, because I'm quite phobic about sleeping, I really resent giving up that time in the day, is the thought that I might dream. When I was a child, my dreams were vivid to the point of terrifying and very tangible and very solid. But now, as a 48-year-old woman, my dreams are quite flimsy, and they're quite... they're like chiffon in the wind. They having less and less meaning. But when I was a child, they were life-changing dreams.
Can you give me a description of some of them?
When I was very, very young, one of my first dreams upset my mother so much she asked me never to talk about it again. And it was a concentration camp dream. Mm-hmm. And I was being lined up in front of 2 domed kind of church arch-shaped green garage doors, and we were being sent in one by one, stripped off and dismembered. I had that dream when I was about 4, possibly younger, possibly 3.5, and when I told my mother, she was visibly shaken. Absolutely terrified.
Can you think of anything else that might have influenced you to have that dream
No.
at that very, very young age?
I had no concept of war, no concept of history, but a recurring dream I had about my mother, which still resonates today. I was on a cliff like Dover, the white cliffs of Dover, and I'm standing on the very top of a cliff in a storm. The wind is whipping my face, and my mother is in a Rolls Royce on the beach below, sitting in the Rolls Royce, and the sea is like, approaching the car, and I know she's waiting for me, either to see me or to pick me up or to get a sign from me, and I'm shouting from the top of the cliff, screaming to her to get out the car, but she can't hear me and she can't see me. But I can see her. And the whole loss of communication between us is tragic. It's really tragic.
Mum!
Is there anything that happened around the age of 7 when this dream started?
I was having a very bad time at school, and school didn't suit me because I had dyslexia and dyspraxia. So basically, attention deficit in a way. I think that the whole problem with schooling and my education meant that my mother and I divided very, very quickly. That trust divided very quickly because I couldn't get her to see how awful the educational system was for me in particular. And I think it was just a dividing of values.
So that maybe when you were 7, that's when it began to start, and so that became almost the dream of not communicating.
She said it was like living with a stranger living with me. I was never a daughter to her. I was always a stranger. But then I went through a pretty magnificent puberty when things really got very, very strange. And I started to have telekinetic and ghost experiences. These were quite sexual, these experiences. This person was whispering sexual obscenities into my ear. But then physical things started to happen in the house that proved that the telekinesis was happening.
What kind of physical things?
Water would start running down the walls, and wallpaper would start peeling off, doors would start banging. Now, my poor mum was so freaked by this that when night time came, she'd just lock herself in the bedroom. Quite a lot of bad, almost violent things were going on, and then suddenly I started to dream about something new, and it was a silver man, a kind of otherworldly being. He was magnificent, and I talk to him even today. As far as I'm concerned, he's my guardian angel.
Could you draw the Silver Man while you talk about it?
I can't draw that well, not literally, but it was the elongation of him. Just absolutely beautiful. He had a phenomenal bone structure. I mean, almost like a living skeleton, just with a very thin layer of flesh and beautiful, benign eyes. But he wasn't as alien as I'm drawing him. He was like a very wizened silver man, long flowing hair, and he seemed to always be standing in some kind of cosmic breeze. He shimmered with movement. I remember his shoulder blades and shoulders were quite prominent because he was incredibly thin and tall and elongated, very long legs. He was about 15 foot tall, and this kind of silken nature was blowing in this cosmic breeze. He appeared at the end of the bed, and he walked round to the side of the bed, and he took my hand, and I rose up into the air. And I can remember the first time this happened, I actually turned in the air when I reached the ceiling and saw myself in bed. And he took me by the hand and he said, I want to show you your relationship with time. I just want to show you a soul, a colour being. And he called them colour beings. And we shot into this amazing cloud of colour. And in the clouds, there were just these balls of colour like gas, but they were quite solid. They never dispersed into smoke or anything. And there was a whole city of them. There was multitudes of them in bright, vivid colours I'd never seen in my waking life. And as these clouds, these bubbles, passed through each other, they made noise. They made music. So the notation changed. And we were in this vast city of these bubbles. And it was like a choir, because they were all passing and permeating through each other. He said, these are souls. They're pure colour, they're pure sound. That was the very first dream I had. And he said, I want you to know that time bends, time moves. Time isn't literal.
When you describe the dream,
Yeah.
it feels like an experience of immense trust.
After these incredibly violent experiences that I've been having from about the age of 13, and I think I was about 14 when I dreamt him, it was, wow. Well, that was not only really nice, it was actually really quite spiritual. I probably only dreamt about him 3 or 4 times, but every time was absolutely spectacular and really changed me. Took away my fear of living and took away my fear of the inevitable, my fear of death, because of this whole concept of time explained what eternity was. To put it in the most basic terms, we are made of stardust. Every atom of us has come from the stars. So I think that's what he was telling me.
And that's taken away your fear
well, it gives
of
me
death.
incredible bravado because, you know, when someone's telling me, well, you've got to fill in this form and you've got to pay that tax, you know, my whole feeling is it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant.
When do you think you'll see your Silver Man again?
Oh, I know exactly when I'll see him again. When I die, he'll be at the foot of the bed. It's one of those things I just know.
I just wondered if your dreams have inspired you creatively.
Oh, yeah. I would prefer my dreams to be as vivid as possible. When I was much younger, I wrote lyrics about my dreams because they were so bizarre. I mean, dreams of being a dictator. I could actually wake up and go, I have to write that down because that really does not relate to me in any way. And I dream bizarre landscapes, bizarre situations.
Can I ask you how your dreams have changed over the years?
Well, I feel quite ashamed to say it, but most of my dreams are sexual these days. I mean, I wake up having slept with people I've only met once. It's very, very interesting, but a lot of my dreams, I wake up and think, oh, God, I could never tell them I dreamt about them in that way.
So whilst they're happening, they're pleasurable?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're not kind of rape scenarios or abuse scenarios. No, they're genuine, good fun mingling scenarios.